Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we have a Baron Lane game, Fiora versus Malphite. This is going to be a fun little game. Malphite against Fiora is pretty easy just because Fiora has that pure, true damage passive. So Malphite's armor isn't really going to work against her, as long as you can use your passive correctly. Now of course, I'm not the best at Fiora, I'm probably one of the worst at Fiora, so feel free to tell me what I did wrong, tell me what I did right. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure you guys are learning something from this content. So this isn't Masters Elo. So although I don't have a champion I'm very comfortable with, we still perform very well because we understand the concept of macro and the importance of that compared to a laning phase. So the laning phase for Fiora is really simple. Whenever you see that shining light behind the enemy's back, it shows up in all four cardinal areas, right? North, south, east, and west. You try your best to hit it. It gives you true damage, which means it negates all armor. So the damage it does is the damage it does. Here, however, Malphite decided to ignite me, and he is still tanking damage from my minions. He ignited and he flashed, so he has no way of getting out if I were to flash on him, which I do here. And thankfully, my Vital showed up on the left side of him, and I procced it, which did so much damage he died. That was a really early level 1 kill, or I guess we'll call it level 2 kill. And I'm taking a Tunny Fruit, gotta take some damage off the turret, try to see if I can get myself a plate before he gets back. That's gonna be a really, really fast first plate. Although he got to lane really fast, because obviously the death timer was like 3 seconds. Now you'll notice I'm recalling when I have only 1,000 gold, which is generally not my playstyle, because I like to sit in a bunch of gold for no reason. And that's because I'm not comfortable with these champions as I am with Trynd, so I don't know how to limit test, so I'd rather play it safe, recall when I have an item, get back to lane with that item advantage, and keep playing, the right way. Now, although I didn't pan over to Baron Lane to see what Malphite is doing with the wave, you can see him still by his turret, which is fantastic. He set up a freeze, which I wasn't really expecting someone to do in this game in general, because nobody really does it. But he held it here for two rounds, 2 minion waves. And although here he's kind of breaking a little bit by attacking me as opposed to focusing on the minions, he did fantastic. This is probably what you would do when you're kind of falling behind. And you saw I used my second ability there to kind of dodge his damage. You don't really want to do that as Fiora. What you want to do is time it when someone's going to CC you or crowd control you, because if you hit an enemy champion when you dodge a CC ability with your second ability, you stun them as opposed to slowing them. So it's really good. But it does have a very long cooldown, so you want to use it conservatively. If you end up making a mistake with your second ability, some enemies will take full advantage of that. For example, if he had a level 5 and I made a mistake on my second ability, he can just use his ultimate on me and I have no way of dodging it. And so in this little fight there, I killed him really fast because of Sheen, which procs every, 1.5 seconds. So what it does is whenever you use an ability, your next auto attack is enhanced. So it stacks with your first ability, your third ability, and Grasp of the Undying. And here is just a really funny way of me dying. Graves just snipes the heck out of me with his ultimate. Well played, friend. You just skip this part, but this is something for you junglers that are watching to understand. Lee Sin goes from the tri-bush around Lucian, cutting him off completely from his escape route. That means he's forced to fight in a 3v1, which is inevitably leads to his death. I just wanted to show you guys that, so when you guys do your ganking routes, you kind of take that into consideration. You want to take the route less taken, the one that they don't expect you to take. Whether that be the tri-bush like Lee Sin did there, or if you have like J4 who jumps over walls to the wall, or Shyvana who jumps over walls, all that fun stuff. Anyway, back to the game. So you see how my fight is always sticking to this little wall here? This is so 2 of my vitals are kind of useless to me. The one that's behind him and the one's on the left of him, because I can't go through the wall to hit him. I can't really go behind him because he's hugging the turret. So here he ults me. I use my ultimate to kind of heal up the damage he's doing to me. And look, the minions are popping off on me. Thankfully, I managed to pop off 2 vitals there in that situation. If I had only hit 1 or none of them, I would have for sure died. Now, of course, someone who's probably better at Fiora would have handled that much better than I did. But because I'm not that good with Fiora, Malphite actually ended up winning that fight, even though he's 0-2 and I'm 2-1. That's how fast this game can change. And that's how, high elo players, whether you want to call them Masters high elo or not, have this really great skill, we'll call it, or skill sets, in which they see one mistake and they capitalize on it so much better than low elo players. Now, Malphite is doing another fantastic thing, which is building against Fiora. The second item that he bought, aside from his Amplifying Tome, was Bramble Vest, which gives him armor, which negates my attack damage. It also gives me Grievous Wounds, so every time I auto-attack him, I'm giving myself Grievous Wounds, and every time I hit him, I take a little bit of damage back. Alright gang, so it is about 5 seconds before Dragon Rift Herald spawn. Lee Sin is still in my lane. He should be recalling by now and getting to Dragon Rift Herald to secure it. That doesn't matter at this point. I have two options here. Either I can force my team into a 4v5 situation and hope for the best, and push this turret really hard. That'll be the split pushing mechanic, as you'd call it. Or with Sion, it'd be, Sion just taking this turret now really fast since he exists in the game now. Or joining your team. I decided to take forever in this turret, recall a little late, and join them in the fight. However, I could have waited just a little longer, checked out the situation here, which is my bad because I didn't use my map to see what's going on. I see Lucian at like a quarter health. Lee Sin just handles him really easily, so that's a 4v4 now. So in this portion here, I could keep on pushing Baron lane and, help secure some more gold for my team. Lee Sin just got a double kill. I saved Karma here, but Lee Sin and Ashe could have done that themselves. This whole time, I could have been securing Rift Herald, the first turret. I came so late that I did no impact in this fight, and I wasted my time here pretty much. And this is why map awareness and using a minimap to look around is so important. If I had noticed this fight was so one-sided in our favor, I could have just kept pushing Baron lane, no problem. And you'll see that I'm making my way back to Baron lane after this whole fight anyway. And this whole time, I got 1 assist and some plays with Akshan, instead of me getting a whole turret myself. And when you're looking back at your games, or when you're looking at my games, you can tell myself or yourself if the play you made, or if the play I made, actually made an impact in the game, in the whole match, right? So, for example, I went to Dragon, and I got 1 assist. That's little impact to the whole game, as opposed to me securing Rift Herald by myself. That's a big impact. As opposed to me taking the first turret, that's a big impact. And you see that Braum, the support, is trying to take Rift Herald by himself, which shows just how easy Rift Herald could have been taken by myself, or even Lee if he had rotated from Dragon to Rift Herald. But this isn't Lee's fault. This is my fault. I had Baron lane prioritization. Malphite was gone, which means I could have taken Rift Herald for free. Instead, I pushed the lane first, take 2 plates, then I recall, then I made the team for Dragon, which is all time loss. As opposed to, let's say the perfect situation is, Malphite was low, so he recalled, I take Rift Herald, I drop Rift Herald at Baron lane, and then I recall, get my Trinity Force, help out the team at Dragon. And that little fight was pretty sudden, so I'm going to go back and talk about it some more. Okay. So when Malphite walks into lane, this ult was pretty telegraphed. I knew he was going to walk up to me and ult. So I used my Q as soon as he moved over to dodge it. I need to get him overly confident for the situation. He flashed out, which means he's still cautious about it. So I'm going to force him to fight me. I'm going to lunge towards him, let him get his Ignite off if he has it, or let him hit me a few times to get him really into having that mentality he can kill me. Thankfully, he does have Ignite, and so he walks towards me. I pull him towards my minions so he can take extra damage from my minions. I'm just holding up to get my Grasp of the Undying proc plus my Vital. So I use my ultimate. I proc the right side Vital, Grasp of the Undying, and left side Vital. I move towards the south side or bottom side Vital. Unfortunately, he moves with me. So the only chance I have to survive this is moving towards the top side Vital. Thankfully, Grasp of the Undying and my Vital proc at the same time, giving me just enough heals to survive this fight. Now, unfortunately in this game, I guess not unfortunately, but it could have been better for me to take Demolish as opposed to Hunter Genius, so I can take these turrets a lot faster than I am now. And the reason I'm using my abilities here is so I can proc Sheen or Trinity Force to do just a little bit more damage to push these turrets faster, with the lack of Demolish, of course. Now here I'm back to doing my old bad habits. I have 2200 gold. I could recall here. I'm really doing nothing here but killing some minions. I could recall by myself my Vampiric Scepter and Recurve Bow, but no, I'd rather try to take this Gromp when Malphite is here and Graves is here, and then I fail a lunge past the wall, so I'm trying to recall here. Gromp aggro's on me, Graves is chasing me now, he's coming in hot, I'm using my boots to get away from him. I do successfully get away from him, but again, that was just a big old waste of time. Before I recall, I make sure I ping danger and that Graves is missing. Kind of like an archaic way of saying, hey, Graves is around his blue side area, just an FYI. And he does show up at middle lane right there with Malphite and Braum. And if you look back, when I put danger, Ashe actually started backing off from middle lane. So I'd like to say that I successfully managed to save her life. Just kidding. Now, of course, a better option instead of buying Trinity for a Tetrashine item probably would have been Divine Sunderer, since it gives you lifesteal and it takes a good amount of chunk away when enemies build health, and Malphite has a lot of base health anyway. I just did Trinity Force because I like the attack speed and I like the speed up boost and all that jazz. But of course, in that sense, the itemization is a personal preference. I am, however, building Blade of the Ruined King to give me advantage of the fact that he has a lot of health, because Blade of the Ruined King does do a lot of damage because it takes away max HP. And there I gave a hard leash to Morgana because I almost killed Grump just for her to take it with her little pool. And so you saw how I used that Scryer's Bloom and aimed it to the direction of the enemy's jungle. That's so I can see if they have wards there, so I can take that. A lot of times people ward their own jungle because they want to be safe there in their own jungle. I managed to take 2 wards from them, which is fantastic. And I'm also pushing this lane in really, really hard, so Malphite has to either use a lot of mana to farm correctly or force himself to recall. But I'm not ready for him to recall yet. I try to use my riposte to force him to stay here, which he does, thankfully, and keep forcing this minion wave into his turret. And yes, you can facepalm if you like. I totally can purchase Blade of the Ruined King right now. But instead, I'd rather leash these wolves for Graves. So Graves can have wolves for free and my flash for free. Happy holidays, Graves. At least I can rotate towards middle lane and grab all of these juicy minions for free. I guess kind of for free. And make more gold for no reason, because I can still only afford Blade of the Ruined King, so that was pretty much a waste of time. And once I'm done recalling, I am going to purchase next item will be Mortal Reminder to get rid of all of the armor that both Braum and Malphite are going to build. So in 15 seconds, Dragon spawns. Everyone's moving towards Dragon. Me and Akshan are right next to each other. We're like best friends right here. Graves is a little exposed. I go for Graves. I get caught by Morgana. This part really makes me sad because I feel like I did that right, but I guess not. I almost die. Some way, somehow I survive. And I'm not going to recall. I'm going to see if I can maybe help out my team by picking people off in bad positions. So I'm waiting to see where my opening is. Malphite is a little overexposed here, so I managed to poke him. And this whole time I could have used my ultimate for all these people and used the healing to maybe be of better use. But I don't. I'm walking around the dragon pit. I see Lucian super duper low, so he's my next target. Again, ultimate would have been useful here, but I don't use it. Braum is my next target here. Again, use my ultimate a little too late there. Finally use it, but I'm dead now anyway, so it's useless for me. But that whole fight, kind of solid positioning, bad use of my abilities. You'll see since I'm dead, I checked the tooltip to see if it really does stun people, and it does, but I was still in disbelief as to why I didn't dodge Malphite's ultimate, but we'll let bygones be bygones. So when I respawn, you see Lucian at red buff, and you see at least 3 or 4 bubbles at Baron lane. So instead of me joining them, I'm going to go towards Dragon lane and see if I can force pressure on their second tier turret. They're duking it out already. Malphite's dead, so it's a 4v4. Killing spree, Morgana's dead, it's a 3v4. Lucian is over there. Braum is dead, so it's only a 2v4. And I'm pretty much free farming this. I'm waiting for the rest of my minions to join me, so I'm taking Krugs while I can. And then this push is pretty much free. It's great that this happened in the same game where my bad dragon rotation happened, because I can show you guys what a good rotation impact does. So when I respawned, again, I told you guys that I saw a fight going on in Baron lane. My team had the upper hand. So instead of me joining them for a waste of time, I'm pushing another turret on the opposite side of the map. So this is what could have happened if I had not rotated towards Dragon when I realized my team had the upper hand and instead taken Rift Herald and a first turret. So for all you people listening out there or watching this video and wondering, I have a 20-0 KDA, how am I not winning this game? Ask yourself, with that 20-0 KDA, are you having an actual impact in the game, or are you just going around getting kills? Remember, KDA does not win games. Taking the Nexus wins games, and how do you take the Nexus? By taking down turrets. And check this out. I managed to somehow dodge Braum's ultimate, but not Malphite's earlier. So in game, that made me so salty that I just had the tiltiest goggles I've ever had in my life. Graves had taken my blue, so I took that super personally and I chased him all the way towards his turret, and I died for it. Thankfully though, I got 2 ults out of that. I got Malphites and Lucians. My whole team tries to capitalize on this mistake. Nothing really happened from it, but I appreciate them trying to help me out, you know? That's nice of them. So it's like 15 minutes into this video, and he might be wondering, where the heck is my Hullbreaker? Well, I personally hardly ever buy Hullbreaker. The reason for that is because Hullbreaker's passive is only useful when you're isolated, and yes, I do split push a lot, but in situations where I need to be a part of a team fight, I feel like it's kind of a useless item. And I'd rather buy something like Maul von Mortimus or Steric's Gauge, which gives me almost as much as attack damage, but both give me shields and passives work in the middle of a team fight. So I feel like in a team fight game or in a team-oriented game, an item that forces you to be isolated just kind of isn't worth the money. But that's my own opinion. If you build Hullbreaker and it works for you, fantastic. I'm not going to stop you from buying it. And yes, I did buy teleport boots. I was going to teleport to Baron, but I felt like it wasn't necessary, and I'd rather save it for when I'm split pushing I need to join my team, or get out of a sticky situation. We take Baron, but the whole team is collapsing on us. Thankfully, Malphite's ultimate missed me for some reason. I was just out of range. And Akshan went down, which kind of sucks. But Ashe is popping off. Everyone's actually popping off here. It was a great fight for us. And yes, although the kills are 24-11, you still gotta respect the fact that these guys are trying super hard to try to win. It's 12 seconds before Dragon spawns, so I'm gonna back off here and head towards Dragon with full HP and an item. I was hoping to teleport to Dragon, but there was no one near there, and there's no wards, so I'm just going to walk myself. With 4 enemies dead, it's pretty much a free Dragon for us. And I'm going to be pushing Dragon lane with Karma. And again, this is another example as to why I don't like Hullbreaker. If someone wants to join me in my split pushing efforts, Hullbreaker in this situation where Karma is so close to me would be useless, because none of my minions would be enhanced. But in the situation, me and Karma can push together, and I lose none of my passives. So you'll see that the red team is trying their best to defend all of these lanes. They're moving from Dragon lane to middle lane as often as the lanes are reaching their turrets, which is the way you want it to be because they have to divide the resources to defend their turrets. This is called turtling, which they defend their nexus with all they can to hopefully rack up some experience points and some gold to keep up with us. Here I made a mistake by ulting Braum instead of Morgana, but we go with it. Thankfully, the Graves here misses ult. Karma is right next to me using her shields, and I kill Braum. We kill Malphite. I get out of there with Flash, and with Karma's help, I am alive and well. And also, Akshan survived. And thanks for Ashe being super duper smart, she went towards Dragon lane instead of helping us in that fight, and took down Dragon lane turret. I am taking that middle lane turret, with them still busy at Baron lane, and they just overwhelmed the enemy team and took Baron lane as well. So that's all 3 inhibitor turrets in like 20 seconds. That's crazy. I take aggro here, I'm almost dead. If Graves did have his ultimate there, I probably would have died. So I recall here, I buy myself my Death's Dance, and I teleport back into the mix, trying to see if I can help out with the Nexus, but you'll see here that I get there too late, and the Nexus gets taken down by the Winions. That is, minions plus win. So, Winions. And with that, it's GG. I hope you people that are watching this video found this gameplay entertaining and fun to watch, and had a little sprinkle of education in there. If you have any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts, put them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer as many as I can. I do my best to answer all of them. And with this game I need 6 more marks to get to Grandmaster. Fingers crossed we get there soon. Thank you, Summoners, and as always, I hope this season's climb is much better than it was last season. See you guys later.